Hello, and today we are doing a Euro Fantasy preview for matchday number 2. So right now, in this moment of time, I can confirm a few of the players that have got 100% shot accuracy. And what I mean by that is, of all the shots they've taken, how many of them out of the total have actually been back of the net goals. So you've only got a few players with 100% shot accuracy. Those include Milan Skriniar from Slovakia. He had one shot in the game versus Poland, one goal. We also have, of course, KANE, and he had two shots. So technically, his goal conversion is only 50%. So why am I saying him then? Hang on, that doesn't make sense. All right, no, let me rephrase that. So once again, Skriniar got 100% goal conversion and shot accuracy. So it's goal conversion that's the important one, I guess. Yeah, that's the one. Anyway, yeah, what I meant by that is goal conversion. So yeah, we've got Wijnaldum with 33. He's not as good. Skriniar 100, and then we've got Stefan Leiner for Austria. One shot, one goal. Also, we had a little bit of Johal Pohjanpalo for Finland. One shot, one goal. And also the same for a bit of Marko Arnautovic. One shot, one goal. It's impressive as well for Thomas Meunier. One shot, one goal. And Lukaku, two shots, two goals. Very, very good goal conversion there. And in terms of other players who don't have 100% goal conversion, but they do have 100% shot accuracy, they always get their shots on target at the minute. You've got Roman Yaremchuk. You've got also Michael Gregoric playing for Austria. And also Wout Weghorst as well, alongside KANE. So that's pretty decent. But let's look at my fantasy team for matchday 2. So I just thought I'd start with that little interesting insight to see which players are clinical, which players do we want in our team. Now, the debate is, do you go with players that do well in match week 1, or do you have a completely fresh batch of, kettle of fish, so to speak, in terms of the players you select? It is very, very difficult to decide. And the main thing we have to decide in this video is, do we play the wild card or do we play Limitless? Because matchday 2 has got some nice fixtures. We've got to target those. And I'm very tempted to go and play the Limitless because that was the plan all along. But now a lot of people are saying, oh, play wildcard before the Limitless. And, you can say, oh, you should spend your wildcard and Limitless by game week 3 and game week 2. But then you might want to use the wildcard or the Limitless, especially maybe the wildcard, in, say, the quarterfinals. So I get that you're probably not going to get the most points out of those opening few weeks. But to spend both of them that early, I don't know. So we might leave it to the quarterfinals, but right now the plan is Limitless game week 2, wildcard game week 3. But it could switch the other way around in a last minute decision. So let's just have a little look at some options, right? Some possible options for our team selection. Now, if we're doing the wildcard, then we're going to have that team the week after that as well. But with the Limitless, remember, it works like in FPL for Fantasy Premier League. Just like the free hit chip, you have it 1 week and then it reverts back to the team before that chip was activated. And then if it's the wild card, it stays the same. So, looking at the fixtures for game week 3, you'd probably say you don't necessarily want France players for the last game week. They play Portugal. And you don't necessarily want, game for England because they play Czech Republic, not as good as maybe the match against Scotland. And you can say the same with a lot of clubs, a lot of countries. So I don't think I want to have a Limitless. I don't think I want to have a wild card chip that stays the same for week 3. So that's why I'm thinking the Limitless, because that way it will revert back to the original team and then we can decide about what team we're kind of going to make, rather than having a really, boring team and it just stays the same in week 3, because the fixtures that are really good for this week might not be as good for week 3, and we can come to that decision when we get there rather than playing the wildcard chip. So that does confirm my decision to play the Limitless chip in this game week. So, in terms of players for this Limitless chip, now, I've got to be honest, right, there's a lot of little differentials and underrated players that are catching my eye, so that's why I was tempted to do the wildcard, because, you know, you can get these players in and see how they go. But with the Limitless, you might as well just have the most expensive team possible, because there is no money constraint. It is absolutely beautiful. So I am very tempted to do that wild card, but we're going to go for Limitless for match day 2. And the target is, people, can we, by the end of this Euros, get into the top 3,000? That would be amazing. Like and comment the video, subscribe for more, but imagine if we got that. Right now, though, we are on 32,100 and is it 38? Yeah, it is. So we've got one more game to go in the game week 1 at the time of recording, but also we want to do well for game week 2. So it's big. It really is big. Right now, though, obviously we're going to click that Limitless and activate it. So let's make some transfers. So we're going to get rid of Cristiano Ronaldo. Now, I don't like to do that, but don't forget, Limitless reverts back, so we'll get him back game week 3. We're going to get rid... Or do we get rid of Lukaku? Because the thing with a Limitless is you can spend as much money as you want, and there's so much temptation to completely change every single player and not keep one of the same. But Lukaku is the joint top scorer. He's been fantastic. So maybe we just keep him in the team. I think I might, to be fair, at the minute. Let's transfer out, though, every other player. And we could always transfer out Lukaku at a later date if we feel like doing that. So, yeah, like I mentioned, people, we're going to try and target the fixtures, get the best fixtures for those points, and just try and do the best possible game week in game week 2. We want to be getting, after that pretty solid first week of about 74, 73, you know, region, we want to be getting into the 90s this week. It's got to be big. It's as simple as that. Otherwise, we won't be getting those lovely, lovely green arrows that we know we can do. Right, so to start off with, Lukaku has to be in the team, and he is. Secondly, though, we've got a little bit of MBAPPE. It's got to be done. Because the reason for that, he plays Hungary this week, so I just feel like if you miss out on MBAPPE, you're going to regret it. So let's just get him in to the team. Kylian is in there. Lovely stuff. Now we've got the third striker. Now this one is a toss-up between Griezmann. Antoine Griezmann could be a decent shout. I do fancy that, to be fair. Or, like we said, we could go for that wild card for match day 2 and keep Limitless. I could do either the other way around. I mean, maybe in the wild card we could get Yaremchuk, but no, realistically with this Limitless, now that we've activated it, and it makes more sense with the fixtures, I think, than wild card first, we're not going to put in Yaremchuk because we can get literally any forward we want. Instead, we're going to put in Harry Kane, just for now. Now, I know you're going to be saying he was not that good against Croatia, and that is true. He was pretty quiet, but against Scotland, surely you'd fancy him for some big points. Once again at Wembley, you know, I think that's going to be a good game for Harry Kane. Let's move on to some other positions to fill, and we could always come back to that front three, but right now that is looking saucy. Mbappe, Lukaku and Kane. In the midfield, though, let's have a little search for that. Insigne, we could keep him on. Obviously, we had him match day 1. He plays Switzerland, which is not bad, but I'm not feeling it, to be honest. It's not incredible. And I know you can say target the fixtures. Switzerland is quite a good one, but I just don't feel like that is the best fixture we could have. Insigne is decent, but he's already scored last week. What's the chance of him scoring again? Probably quite low. So, yeah, I'm not going to go with Insigne this time. And I'm not going to go with Wijnaldum because we obviously had him last week. One player I'm very much considering is Andriy Yarmolenko, because the main reason is, right, he plays up against this week North Macedonia, and he just scored an absolute screamer against Netherlands. So it's a very tempting option, and whenever you play against North Macedonia, it's got to be a kind of a player you target. So although it's not the most expensive player, Yarmolenko, the fixture is perfect for this week. Moving on quickly then, shall we, to our defence. And this is looking saucy, I've got to say, because we've gone for a little bit of SPINAZZOLA, who I didn't own Game Week 1, and I'd be absolutely fuming to not, because he looked amazing. He's so attacking, and it's a game against Switzerland that, alright, might not have the attacking returns like it did for Insigne and Immobile match day 1, but it could have some defensive returns, and SPINAZZOLA is so attacking. We've next got in our defence a bit of MEUNIER from Belgium. Now, obviously, there's a bit of doubt whether he'll play, but off the back of a great performance against, Russia, I think he should. And I also think that with Timothy Castagne out injured, that can give MEUNIER a better chance. So surely he's going to play, and he's playing a decent fixture. Denmark, all right, they're going to go for that, and they're going to try and win it for Eriksen, of course. Great to see that he's kind of, up and responding, but it doesn't look like he'll play football again. So Denmark have really got to go into this with a lot of character, and Belgium are going to try and stop that from happening, but I still feel like that could be a decent game for MEUNIER. Next one up is one that I was considering, and it's Dumfries. Now, I'm not sure if I will stick with Dumfries, to be fair, because that Netherlands defence looked pretty awful, you got to say, against Ukraine. So it is a worry, but Dumfries is a goal threat, like he showed to get the winner against Ukraine. And, Austria, they did just beat North Macedonia, but it was North Macedonia. Netherlands could lose, to be fair, against Austria. I wouldn't be surprised if that happened, but Dumfries has still got a lot of attack potential, and Netherlands will fancy their chances. So I think it could be a decent shout in defence. We could even keep on Donnarumma as well, because the chance of a clean sheet maybe is quite decent for the Italian goalkeeper there. But instead, we're going to go for another goalkeeper. For me, though, it's between Jordan Pickford and possibly Danny Ward. Now, I'm not sure how I feel about this, because it's bold to go for an England goalkeeper that, has got a lot of criticism. He did do well against Croatia, but he didn't have to make a lot of saves. And then Danny Ward had a man of the match performance in their game with Switzerland. So, yeah, it's not appealing to me right now. But right now, before we've done anything, I think we're going to put in a bit of Danny Ward, because Turkey haven't got a lot of goal threat. We saw that on Friday night versus Italy. And yeah, all right, Turkey are going to go for that. Wales are going to go for that. They know that that's kind of a must-win, really. But I think Danny Ward did make a few good saves, and I think he'll be impressive. Can't imagine he'd switch to Hennessy after a performance like that. So maybe it might be a decent shout. I know you'll say, oh, you can spend as much as you like. Well, talking of that then, we'll get a more expensive goalkeeper then, shall we? So we could get Donnarumma, but we had him game week 1, so there's just no need for it, really. Robin Olsen plays Slovakia, which is quite a decent fixture, to be fair, and he played pretty well against Spain. So that is another tempting one. So for me right now, it's between Robin Olsen, Pickford, Courtois, and possibly, I mean, you can say possibly Stekelenburg, but will he play against Austria? I mean, we didn't think he would, and then Tim Krul was on the bench, so that was a bit of a shocker. I'm not feeling Stekelenburg, to be honest, so I'm going to say between maybe even Dubravka, to be fair, against Sweden. But no, I think maybe Unai Simon against Poland will struggle, and I think that Vaklik the same. So I'm going bold, but I'm going with Robin Olsen. I just don't have faith in Pickford. Apologies, but I just don't. So, the goalkeepers aren't massively important, and you shouldn't overthink it, really. I know that Danny Ward and Robin Olsen on paper doesn't look like a great goalkeeping double-up, but the fixtures, you've got to target fixtures. And that's exactly what we've done so far. So that's a decent shout. We've also got Mbappe up front, but in defence, I've got to have a little bit of Jordi Alba. Now, he was fantastic, I thought, in their game with Sweden, because although he didn't get any attacking contributions, he was so creative down that left-hand side, always whipping in balls and looking really, really impressive. And obviously, he's one of the most expensive players in the game at 6 million for a defender. So I think he's got to be in there ahead of a game which could be decent for Spain in terms of they've got a lot to learn from that Sweden match. They have to be more clinical against Poland. And I know that Poland's not an easy match, of course, but I think Jordi Alba is still a very good option to have if need be, maybe on the bench with the difficulty of that fixture. If Lewandowski does do well, then he will obviously struggle to keep a clean sheet. But I think that's a decent defender to have in terms of those attacking returns. Now, I'm really difficult. I'm in a really difficult position right now because I'm very tempted to get some nice options like Yaremchuk, like Yarmolenko, like Zinchenko, or even John Stones. But that would be the team that I'd probably have if I was doing wildcard. But I decided due to fixtures I'm not doing wildcard. I'm doing limitless. So maybe it just doesn't make any sense to look at any wildcard options. Just go with the flow with it, really, and maybe just kind of accept that I might not bang this out of the park, but I've got to do my best and try and get in the best players. So, if I am doing this limitless chip, then I think I've got to make the most of it in terms of the players I bring in, because realistically, Harry Kane, I think, has got to be in the team. Lukaku, the same. Do we get Gareth Bale? Now, I thought he was pretty underwhelming against Turkey, so I'm not massively feeling it, to be fair. Another player that I was really tempted by is Alexander Zinchenko. Now, first of all, he plays against North Macedonia, but second of all, he actually plays midfield in the game, and he's down as a defender in this fantasy game. So Zinchenko could be a decent option. I know it's not great to have two Ukraine players right now because we've already got Yarmolenko, but you've got to target the fixtures at this point. And Insigne, I could easily just get back for this week, but I'm not sure. You've got to kind of make the most of what the chip gives you. And in this chip, you've got unlimited money. So you've got to make the most and try and get the most expensive players. But obviously that's not good if expensive players don't get points. But you've got to kind of make the most of the freedom that the chip gives you, I think. So I could just buy back Donnarumma. I could just buy back Insigne. I think Insigne might have to come back, to be fair, because he is very, very good at this point in time. But it's a sticky one at this point. Mbappe, Pogba, Pavard. Those are all my thoughts for the French players. So let's get a little bit of Pogba. Why not? He plays Hungary. All right, yeah, he's not that attacking Paul Pogba, but why can't he have a decent game against Hungary? I feel like that might be a decent shout. And this is all subject to change, of course, because we'll just kind of see if the Hungary game, France really do turn up. So Paul Pogba's a bold one at 8.5 million, but obviously with no budget restrictions, then he can easily come in. Ferran Torres is a very interesting one, I think, because a lot of people were hyping him up ahead of the Euros, and he ended the season pretty well with Man City, but I wasn't feeling it. I was like, nah, Ferran Torres just doesn't get the right amount of supply, and he's not clinical enough for his country, even if he is for his club. And actually, that was the case on Monday night against Sweden. They weren't clinical enough, and Ferran Torres wasn't, lively enough. He got substituted off, which is another worry. And Poland, all right, they did lose to Slovakia, but it's not the best fixture. We've got Jordi Alba in there. Maybe we should have a Spain attacker, but I'm just not sure that, right now, Ferran Torres is clinical enough. Now, if you look at some of the other Spain attackers, you don't want to be going anywhere near Alvaro Morata, because at the end of the day, he is just wasteful with his chances. And to be fair, in terms of creating chances, I thought the main man for Spain on Monday night, even though he didn't score, but he actually played a better game than Ferran Torres, and that was Dani Olmo. So Olmo is catching my eye, I've got to be honest. Koke obviously missed a few good chances, and Sarabia whipped in a few good balls when he came on. But I think Dani Olmo could really be involved in the thick of things against Poland. So why not bring him in? 7 million could be a shout. And now we've got one more space to fill in this limitless team selection, and that is another midfielder. So I could easily get another France player, but I've already got Pogba. And I guess you could look at someone like Aaron Ramsey facing up against Turkey, of course. And that's why Bale is a tempting option. But I'm just not sure. Is Bale past his prime? I think he probably is, to be fair. Which, is it making it difficult to decide who to bring in, to be honest. So with the limitless, I think that Pogba's a shout. I think Wijnaldum could be a shout. But we just had him. So do I keep him? Is it really necessary? I think the front three of them, Mbappe, Lukaku and Kane, is pretty much the best three we're going to get. Jack Grealish obviously getting dropped against Scotland. Does that mean he'll play this week? Well, not necessarily, but I don't know. I just feel right now like, is Grealish a good option? Maybe not. John Stones obviously a decent option against Scotland, but not really feeling it. So he may be playing against Germany, but what about a bit of Bruno Fernandes? All right, fair enough, he's not on penalties, but could be a decent option, as could Diogo Jota. So I'll put Fernandes in for now because he is those kind of player that does let's get loads of points. And with Fernandes, he's so expensive, so this is a great time to kind of utilise his price with the chip. And that is the team as it stands, but it's subject to change, and I could easily take some of those players out. So it's a difficult one right now. I have a lot going through my head, who to bring in, who's the best option, blah, 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 blah. Luka Modric is another one who was pretty poor, you got to say, against England. So will he affect the game? Has he kind of gone past his prime, a bit like Gareth Bale? Possibly, to be fair. Eden Hazard as well, and Kevin De Bruyne. Now, that Denmark game is not going to be easy. I know that Finland beat them, but, you know, Denmark is still a good side on their day, even without Eriksen in the team. And, you know, De Bruyne, will he be back in time? Well, it's always a risk. So if De Bruyne is cleared to play a few days in advance of the deadline, then, of course, I'll bring him De Bruyne. But the problem is we don't get news about it until, you know, probably the game comes out. So you kind of just have to make a gamble, but I'm not going to gamble for a player who could be injured. I'd much rather have a player who's more likely to start and more likely to get points. So Modric is a bit of a consideration, to be fair, at this point. Do we get Kieran Trippier? Well, he was quite attacking against Croatia, but I'm still not feeling it, to be honest. I think it's a bit of a dodgy move, and I think that it would be a bit of a risk. But, you know, it's not too bad. You got to think about this. And we're trying to think about options. Now, I think Donnarumma is a decent, you know, shout for the Limitless. But you could also look at someone like Pau Torres. You know, did well for me in that game. Game against, who was it? It was Sweden. Got the clean sheet, but that was just kind of the expected thing, really. So Harry Kane, I think you probably want to keep him. Do we keep Denier though? That's the question. He didn't play match day 1, and that's a problem. But Meunier is a bit more attacking, isn't he? So maybe he's a better option. I think Pogba is a tricky one, and we might sell him now actually, because he does look like a player who could be a trap. You know, he looks always that really attacking player, but is he really all that? I'm not sure. So maybe Wijnaldum is better. It's so hard to know. Do you base it off the total points that has happened already? Do you get Sterling in, who looked really lively against Croatia? Well, all right, it's a good game against Croatia, but that was his first ever goal at a tournament, so it's not ideal. But maybe Kingsley Coman. Do we know he's going to play though? Maybe not. It's a really difficult one. Bale as well is a decent option. Joao Felix as well. The fact that he's a midfielder in the game is absolutely criminal. Jota. I mean, Germany's a tough fixture, but they could do anything in that game, to be fair. You could say Czech Republic is a good fixture. So it's really, really difficult, this Limitless chip. When you've got so much choice, you think, like, how do I make the best decisions? Because it could all go wrong, or it could all go swimmingly, amazingly. So right now, I'm in a bit of a difficult decision to make, but I've just brought in Gareth Bale because of the fixture. Turkey are a team to target, I think. And I'm probably going to get rid of Yarmolenko, keep Zinchenko though, and we'll bring in a little bit of Serge Gnabry. Nah, but he's playing Portugal though. That game's going to be tight, you'd imagine. Eden Hazard's back from injury, so I could have him, to be fair. Might be a decent shout. Okay, so the team right now, you have got Mbappe, Lukaku, Kane, Hazard, Bale, Insigne, Spinazzola, Meunier, Dumfries, Jordi Alba, Danny Ward, Olsen, Olmo, Fernandes, Zinchenko. Not bad. Not bad at all. I think that's decent. But is it good enough? I don't know. Yarmolenko is really tickling my fancy at this point. Like, he's decent. He really is decent. Perisic I also thought about for Croatia, but they don't look that good right now, Croatia. So I guess what we could do is get rid of Hazard, because I think he's just not worth it at this point. Oh, actually, you could say the same for Bruno Fernandes, because he plays against Germany, so that's quite a tough game. So instead of Fernandes, then we will get a little bit of Perisic, and I guess we could leave it at that. But it's not ideal. I think that there's just so many options, and it's like, who's the best one? Zinchenko, do we get him? Could do, but I don't know. I just don't feel like Zinchenko is amazing, but we've got him right now, and we've kind of got him instead of Yarmolenko. So it's whether that's the right call. I don't know. It's really sticky at this point. So yeah, I don't think I'm going to do wildcard for game week 1. Oh, sorry, game week 2. Even though that's tempting, I'm probably not going to do it. I think MEUNIER is quite a decent shout, to be fair. Euronen, alright, he got an assist against Denmark, but I'm still not completely fussed by it, to be honest. Oh, there's got to be some more options. I don't know. I think we're going to leave it at that, people. Because there's just not much else to say, really. Maybe we get WIJNALDUM back instead of Bale, because, you know, Bale is... it's always hard to know with Bale, because he's usually their star man, but, you know, he wasn't brilliant against Switzerland. But will he just back the fixture? Maybe you should. It's probably a decent shout to back the fixture. WIJNALDUM could be decent. You know, there's a lot of options here. So maybe what we do is we get rid of Dani Olmo, because, you know, Spain just didn't have that final product. And, alright, they're playing a slightly better game this week, but I don't feel like Spain are lighting the world, you know, right now. So we'll put in WIJNALDUM then, shall we? Let's put in WIJNALDUM, because if it ain't broke, don't fix it. WIJNALDUM was brilliant, but you can say, all right, he got a rebound goal from a, you know, goalkeeper error, but it was still a good goal, and he's still quite clinical for when he plays for Netherlands. Oh dear, it's a sticky one, to be honest, because there's many options, but it's like, where do you kind of draw the line? Dum 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 dum. Okay, let's just try and lock that in then. We can change it after. So let me just show you all the changes I'm about to do. Because it's limitless, obviously it will revert back. But this is the changes we have got locked in. Can you see that? I'm not sure if you can. Might have to turn the brightness up a little bit. Right, here we go. Those are the changes we are currently looking at. There's a lot there, but I think those changes are saucy. So let's lock that in, shall we, for game week number 2. Right, it's time for a bit of tinkering for the team. So, what do you do about match day 3? I think you can't ignore the cheap players, but also you might as well get the expensive ones with this chip. Like, it's tricky. It really is. I think Griezmann could be a shout, so maybe we get Griezmann in. But who would we get him in for? MBAPPE or Lukaku? Doesn't feel like a really great decision. I think Trippier could also be a shout, but maybe not. Let's just... I don't know. Yaremchuk is tempting, and so is, you know, Malinovsky and Forsberg. But would I get those on a limitless? Probably not, because they're cheap options. They are really, really cheap options. tough, man. It really is tough. Boyata for Belgium. Could I get him? Or should I get him? I could do, but it doesn't feel like... I mean, I know, you know, going with all the Ukraine players could be a good strat with the fixture, but surely you want to hedge your bets. It's tough. It really is. So, you know, LLORIS we could get instead of Donnarumma. Oh, sorry, we don't have Donnarumma, but instead of maybe Danny Ward. I mean, it's difficult. Putting my faith in a Welsh defence is not an amazing decision. So maybe we get LLORIS instead. Why not? Let's go for it. Let's put LLORIS in the team. Dun, 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 dun. Right, that's the team then. Oh, I've got so many different decisions. Like, what is the best? Do we put Sterling in? Sterling could be a decent shout, but surely we just stick with Kane. Like, Sterling, am I really convinced by him? Not particularly. I mean, that is a solid team. I don't care what you say. Like, you don't get much more solid than that. But is it... The thing is, with a limitless team, do you make a team that everyone else has got because it's amazing? Or do you go really different, but then not get in all the most expensive players? It's a difficult way up, to be honest. Donnarumma, do we get him in? I'm very tempted. If I didn't already have Donnarumma from the first week, then I probably would have brought him in this week. But, you know, at the end of the day, I just feel like... I mean, it's a good shout for a clean sheet, but it's not amazing. So how about we get LLORIS and Donnarumma? I mean, you can't really complain too much with that. I don't have to have Donnarumma playing, but I could just have the option of Donnarumma. So... The defence is looking nice, I think. ALBA, Spinazzola, MEUNIER, DUMFRIES, Zinchenko. I mean, Zinchenko maybe is not the best of options. I think Bale as well. It just feels risky. I don't know what it is about it. But maybe we just keep Zinchenko for now. I think Insigne and MBAPPE seem to be quite decent shouts, so I think we go with that. But dear, it's tough. It is tough. We'll get there in the end, people. But it's just about working through the options and trying to decide something, really. So I think Donnarumma is going to be in goal. Spinazzola is going to be there. Do we get a France defender instead of Zinchenko? Maybe we do. I think it could be a decent shout. I know that he's playing North Macedonia. So maybe we get in... I mean, to be fair, Koufal's playing Croatia, but nah. I know Koufal got an assist, but I'm still not having it. Let's get a bit of... It's between Trippier and... I guess a France defender, probably. I mean, let's be honest. They're one of the most solid defences out in the game. France. So, we could get Lucas Hernandez. A bit of attacking threat there. Yeah, why not? Or Varane. Varane gets headers. Or Pavard. I don't know. Who's got the most attacking... Who's got the most attacking threat out of those? I mean... Most people have got Varane, but I don't think he's got the most attacking threat. It's probably between Pavard and Hernandez. So let's go Hernandez. Why not? And then I guess we could go Sterling. I'm tempted by De Bruyne, to be fair, because... And the other thing you've got to think about with this limitless chip, you can get anyone you want, but try and get a player for every day of the week. So let's have a little look at the fixtures then, shall we, for match day 1. So match day 2, Euro 2020 fixtures, right? So on that opening day, you've got Finland v Russia, and Turkey v Wales, and then Italy, Switzerland. So I've got Bale, I've got Spinazzola, and I've got Insigne. So that's quite decent. 3 players on the first day. Then Ukraine, North Macedonia, haven't got anyone. Denmark, Belgium, we've got Lukaku, MEUNIER, and Hazard. And then Netherlands, Austria, we've got WIJNALDUM and DUMFRIES. So that's 5 players on Thursday. Not including the... Well, yeah, I haven't got any from the Ukraine game. 5 players is a lot, man. Maybe we limit some of the players from that game because we don't want to put all our eggs in one basket. Alright, let's get rid of WIJNALDUM. And let's get instead someone that plays on Friday. It's Friday then. Let's get a France midfielder. Why not? I mean, I don't see much wrong with that. But who's going to play for France? That's the question. Kante is ridiculously owned. Like, he's not going to get goals. France midfielder. Not Pogba. I'm not having it. I mean, outside of Pogba, there's not a lot of French, options, really. Let's just get Joao. Oh, but against Germany. It's so tempting to get Portugal players, but it's Germany, man. It's not a good fixture. I'm just going to stick with what I said originally. I think I'm going to get Dani Olmo in. Because I rate Olmo over Torres. And I think that game against Poland, alright, Poland just lost, but Poland will go for it. Surely that's not going to be a walkover. Alright, we're going to get Yarmolenko. Oh, but it's so tempting to get Yarmolenko, but when you know you could spend as much money as possible, you just think, why? Why would you get him? When you can get, Pogba or, Hazard. It's just like... It's a really difficult place to be in right now. Let's just get him by price. Let's get the most expensive assets. We're not getting Bruno. We're not getting Sterling. I guess we could get Sterling, but nah. Should we get Ramsey? Nah. Let's get a little bit of what's his name? Where has he gone? Oh yeah, there he is. Yeah, let's get a little bit of Joao Felix because I know he's playing Germany, but he's playing up front, man. Surely. Or we could get Jota. Yeah, I prefer Jota, to be fair. That could be a better shout. It might be Germany, but some players can do it in any game. So Bale has to stay for me because it's Gareth Bale. Like, if you're crying out loud, he's class. Let's have a look. So, in terms of fixtures, once again, we've got the Ukraine game, no players. Interesting. Denmark, Belgium. We've got 3 Belgium still. And we've got 1 Netherlands now. So that's 4 players on Thursday. Let's try and... I know this sounds really OCD, but should we try and get even players on each day? I know that sounds really weird, but why not? You might as well. So Finland, Russia, we don't want any players from that game because I think that's going to be tight. It's going to be nervy. Pookie might score, but I'm not feeling it. Turkey, Wales, we got Bale, so that's fine. And then we've got Italy game. We've got 3 options actually from Italy. So that is quite decent. So we've got Insigne, Spinazzola, and Donnarumma. 2 of which are already owned, but, it is what it is. So that's quite nice. I think that's decent. So then we've got 4 players playing on that day, including Gareth Bale. Then the Ukraine game, we've got no players. Why would you have a Ukraine player when you got the opportunity to buy as many players as you want? I just don't see the logic. All right, yeah, good fixture, but you've got unlimited money. Like, surely you just don't have a Ukraine player. I think if I did the wild card, I would have a Ukraine player. But I'm not. I'm not going to do the wild card. It just doesn't make sense. I'm not having it. So, yeah, I'm just going to leave it at that, really. Instead, we're going to go for the Limitless, and we're going to stick with what we said, no Ukraine players. So, let's move back to the fixtures, shall we? We might get Wijnaldum, to be fair. Do we just get Wijnaldum at this point? We're just delaying the inevitable at this point. I mean, we've got Insigne, that's quite nice. We've got DUMFRIES. Should we get Wijnaldum instead of Perisic? All right, let's go with that, because I think Wijnaldum's too. But Perisic is more attacking, man. Nah, I don't feel Perisic either. You just have doubt in like every player. That's the issue right now. Should we get De Bruyne? I mean, it's touch and go whether he plays, but if he does, you know, he could be solid. Let's not risk it. Let's get Eden Hazard instead. He's back from injury now, Hazard, so I think that's got to be a good option. So Hazard is in the team. Bruno? I don't know. That's tough. Dum 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 dum. Should we get Genie back? Or it could get Sabitzer, but nah. Let's just get all the deluxe players, man. It's too tempting to not. I think Bale is going to be there. I think we stick with that. Let's get Wijnaldum back. I just love him too much. What can I say? All right, he might not be a goal threat, but I think he'll be decent. So Genie's back. So then from that opening day, we have a little bit of first game matches. We've got no players. Then we've got Bale. Then we've got 3 Italy. Then we've got 3 Belgium. 2 Netherlands. That's 5 on Thursday. And then we have we haven't got many players on Friday, to be fair. That's not great. I don't like that. Sweden, Slovakia. I'm not saying you would get a player from there, but maybe Croatia, Czech Republic could be decent. I guess if it is Croatia, Czech Republic, you'd get one of Modric or Schick. Should I get Patrick Schick? Nah, I'm not feeling it. I'm also not feeling Insigne because we had him last week, man. Like, chances of him scoring again. All right, he's a good attacking option, but really? It's about how much you rate Gareth Bale, basically, because I'm going to keep Wijnaldum. I'm going to keep... All right, let's get out Jota because it's Germany, man. It's going to be tough. Let's stick with Perisic. I think Perisic is much more attacking than Modric. So why would you not have him at this point in time? So we got Perisic and Kane. So 2 players on Friday. That's not bad. Could be worse. Then Saturday night we've got a decent amount of players. MBAPPE. Then we haven't got a Portugal or Germany player, which is a bit interesting. Mainly because, you know, I put faith in Ronaldo for that Hungary game. Do I put faith in Portugal or Germany? Well, obviously one of them is going to probably get points, but I'm not sure. Should we get... Nah, I'm not feeling a Portugal defender. I mean, Gundogan's on penalties, I guess, isn't he? Probably. So, chances are, could be decent, but Ronaldo is as well. I mean, I haven't seen many people's limitless drafts with a Portugal or Germany player, so... You know, it's not exactly desirable at this point. Yeah, we're going to stick with that, to be fair. And then finally, we've got the game between Spain and Poland. And in that one, we've only got Jordi Alba. We could easily get Lewandowski, but off the back of that game he had, I think he was pretty quiet against Slovakia. So why get him out of the blue? The thing with Lewandowski is he doesn't get the same service that he gets at Bayern Munich. So that's why. So I'm not feeling it right now. Artem Zuba for Russia? Nah, surely not. Surely not. I hate getting the same players that I had last week. Not getting them in, but just keeping them there. It's just boring. Like, switch it up, man. I don't think the Netherlands double up is necessary. I really don't. Surely it isn't. Because Wijnaldum did his bits last week. Dumfries scored, alright, but doesn't mean he's a great option. I feel like Jota could be a better option then, to be fair. Because he's so attacking, man. Let's get Jota. Let's get Jota over Wijnaldum. I just think Jota's too good to not own. Right. This is about our 50th draft, but we'll get there in the end. Sterling, I'm not feeling the hype, to be honest. Not feeling the hype over Trippier either, because realistically, nah. I feel like Hernandez could be decent, but is Pavard a better option? I think Hernandez is better. I know Pavard scored in the World Cup, that stormer against Argentina, but nah. Alright, that's our team. We're not going to think about it any longer because I literally will just be here for 5 years. Apologies it's ran on for so long. 47 minutes is not ideal, but we've, had to make these decisions, and sometimes this takes time. But hope you have enjoyed. Let me just lock in those transfers. 4 changes that we've made of the following. Surely that's going to get us points. But thanks for watching this FPL. No, don't get into that. It's Euro Fantasy, or EF, Euro Fantasy 2020 preview for Matchday 2. The Limitless chip is activated and the team is looking lovely. We're just going to make sure that we've got all the players in terms of their date. They're playing the soonest possible. So Donnarumma needs to be on the pitch, as does Hazard and Perisic. Let me just make those changes. Hazard comes on. Donnarumma comes on. And yeah, we're going to leave it at that. That is solid, boys. Solid stuff. Okay. That is the team locked in. The captaincy is not locked in, but right now it's on Kane. I don't know why, to be honest, because he doesn't fill me with confidence. I've actually got Gareth Bale playing first, so we could captain Bale or Insigne. So let's move it actually to a bit of Insigne, the OG captain from match week 1 against Turkey. What a legend! He did so well with a silky finish, and I've got a feeling that once again we're going to get some big points from these kind of players. So that is our team done and dusted. Then Jota and the French boys are on the bench. Beautiful stuff. There we are. Locked in for match day number 2, as much as locked in can mean for this kind of fantasy game. I think that Limitless team is saucy. Thanks for watching. Apologies once again for the longness of it, but I will make sure I schedule it for about 8 o'clock on Tuesday night, so that way you can watch it. Should we say 8 o'clock? Maybe a bit later. No, we'll go 8:30. 8:30 on Tuesday. Make sure you watch it, people. Smash a like on it, and yeah, basically check out my my fantasy review of last week. But yeah, hope you enjoy. That's my team locked in. Insigne cap. Thanks for watching.